So this middle corner bullnose had a massive ding right in the center of it, and it ended up looking like this. But stay tuned for this video. I'm going to show you how I turned this corner bead into this corner bead. I'll walk you through the whole process of repairing it, straightening it, and filling it ready for painting. Almost looks brand new. Hi guys, Bradamckinnon here. Welcome back to another video. This is an elderly lady's brand new house, and she was absolutely devastated when she found out that the moving company put a big ding in her brand new wall. She told me she thought we were going to have to sort of pull down a couple of sheets, replace that whole corner bead, and she was very worried at the mess it was going to make. But I said, leave it with me, I'll see what I can do. And I did not want to pull down sheets and pull off the whole corner bead. So the first thing I did was just remove all that loose sort of paint. What happens is these corner beads have got metal under the paper, and once they get a sort of a ding in them, they sort of pop the edges out. So we need to remove all that loose stuff, and then we need to straighten it as much as we can. So I'm just using a bit of timber there with a nice straight edge, and I'm just going to tap that nice and gently. Try and bring those two high points. It was dinged right in the center there, you can see, and it pushed sort of two high spots on either side out. So we just want to knock those back really gently. Takes a while. We don't want to hit it hard, we don't want to pop it off anywhere else up the bead. But as we're knocking it back, we're sort of pushing other bits in and out, which is causing the paper to pop off. So we just want to keep cutting those loose bits of paper off, because if we plaster over those, they'll just bubble. So we don't want any loose paper or paint or plaster under the new plaster, or we just run into problems. So as I'm knocking it back into shape, I'm just cutting off any loose bits and peeling them off. And we're just making sure everything's good. So you can see here on these corner beads, they've got you can see that metal there just under my thumb. That's just loose and it's pulling away, and that's a sort of a high point there as well. So we want to get those back. So what we're going to do is we're going to screw those, put a couple of screws on right on the edge of that metal, and drill it into the timber there. There's timber all the way up that corner, so we're going to hit timber anywhere. Well, what that is going to do, the head of the screw is going to pull back that metal, and that's going to allow us to fill it with plaster. Plus it's just going to hold those edges down as we keep tapping those couple of high points right on the edge of the bead, on the round there. So those are right on the edge of the metal, so it's still going through the paper, and it's just pulling that edge back in against the wall. And just check those screws are in far enough by running your knife over them. And we're constantly checking the straightness with our bit of wood. We've got a little level, that's fine, you can use that. But every time you sort of tap in it a bit, the other sort of bit pops out, and we just got to keep doing it gently. And we're just going to pull that side in again. And we're getting there, we're just working away nice and slowly. We don't want to cause more damage, and we can just run that round, just pick up any high spots. Bit of a patient game, this repair. So with this repair, I didn't want to come back to this job, so what I'm going to do is, well, first of all I'm going to just remove the paint where I'm going to be plastering, because just to give a better adhesion to start with, and just to let it dry quicker. So I don't want to take all the paper off, you can see there that there's paper over the metal bead. I want to leave as much paper on there as I can, because give something for that plaster to adhere to. If it was just a bare metal, the plaster would slide as I'm trying to put it on. It wouldn't really stick as well. So just that paper on there is going to allow the plaster to stick to it. And what I'm going to do to save myself putting a coat on, going away, coming back, etc, etc, I'm going to put a coat of plaster on. I'm going to get my heat gun out and dry it, so I can do my next coat straight away. And we're going to do that for as many coats as it takes. And in doing that, you need to use an air drying plaster. You can see here, just I've got it as good as I want it. It's pretty good there all the way around. We can fill that little hollow there, and there's just a little high point where those things are, but we can fill that out, so we can lose that by filling it out there. Like I was saying, yeah, we're just going to use an air drying plaster because it's so thin. The air drying plaster will dry pretty quick with the heat gun on it, so I'm not going to just load it up on my first coat. I'm just going to lightly fill those hollows so it'll dry faster, and then I can fill it again, and the more plaster that goes on there, the thinner it's going to get, the quicker it's going to dry. So if I just threw a big load of plaster on their first coat, I'd be there forever with the heat gun trying to dry it out. So I'm not overfilling it, I'm just filling it in lightly. Now if you're a beginner, or you've got the time at your own place, you can fill it and leave it to dry with the air temperature just naturally, and come back the next day. Even if you've got time, by all means do that. But because I'm just on this job, it's out of town, and I want to get it finished and done, I've just got the heat gun out there just drying it out. You cannot do this with a setting plaster. Setting plasters need to set before they dry, so whatever you do, don't use a setting plaster if you're going to dry it with a heat gun. Now again, if you're a beginner, you can use a putty or a wood filler and do it the same sort of techniques that I'm using here. Just got to keep filling it, keep coming back till you get it right. This lady, it was her brand new house, and she was absolutely devastated with the damage, so I wasn't going to leave it until it was absolutely perfect. And that meant in the end I ended up doing 8 coats of plaster, which you might think is a bit overkill, a bit too much, but that's what it took to get it right. So as we're going here, we're on to our 3rd coat now. We're just going to give it a light sand, just keep everything nice and round, and any high points we can just sort of sand off there. Just clean the dust off, because we're going to do another coat, so we're going to get all the dust off there. Now again, you can see I'm working vertically around the curve, filling it, just because it had that ding in the middle. So we just want to fill out that hollow ding, clean off the edges as we go. Again, drying, that's sped up. Don't want to bore you with the drying process, but now we're just going to get a bit of paper tape. I'm going to come down horizontally and just sort of flush that out a bit more. So we're going to have to fill that again with plaster. Again, I'm going to fill it vertically, or horizontally I should say. I'm going to come down there with the paper tape just to get that beautiful round. Just do it once, don't go back and do it again. be confident with your paper tape and getting things right. And we'll just clean the edges there. Now I just wanted to fill those, you can just see those couple of little high points still with the metal bead shining through the plaster. So you can see I've got a bit of a build up on that left side, but that's what I want. We can just, as it dries, we can just sand off that edge. Don't worry about trying to get any high points off, because once it's dry you can scrape it or sand it back smooth. Then we can go again with another coat. This time I'm just going to fill it vertically just to flush out those edges there, clean off the edges. Now the coats are getting thinner and thinner, so they're drying faster with the heat gun. I can keep going until I'm happy. Keep checking it. You can feel it with your hands, and just going to do another decent fill over here, trying to cover the whole thing, all that paint that I took off. Again, drying it. We're up to our 7th coat now, and I felt just one more would do it, just to cover the whole thing on your last coat. Clean the edges. And for me that was perfect. Just needed a light sand after that. Now the lady wasn't home, but I left, and later that evening I got a message from her saying she couldn't believe what I'd done. She was absolutely rapt, and that's all I wanted to hear. So we'll just give it a light sand. Clean, just those edges need a sand off, so it's all blended in, and that's all ready for painting now. Just using a bit of sandpaper, just rounding it on that bullnose, making sure everything's perfect. And I was absolutely stoked with the result, and so was she. Just a beautiful repair there, and once that's painted you'll never know. So that's that for that one, guys. Hope you enjoyed that one. Bit different there, but a nice little repair for DIYs at home if you've got the same sort of issue. If you enjoyed watching that one, please subscribe. I need some more subscribers, trying to hit that 1,000 subscriber mark. Help me out. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.